So methods are another thing that we can add to a class. And a method inside of a class is declared, indented under the class the same way you declare a function outside of a class. So it's indented, the code block beneath it is indented. It can take parameters or not, but you're still going to have the empty parentheses there and the colon, same syntax. So now I can have, and by the way, a method, just like a function, can be a do something or a return something function or method. But if I want to add to this, start car. Okay, so def start car. Now, if I don't want to pass any parameters, I'm just going to leave self in there, because that's just saying this belongs to that class. Print. Okay, so there is a method. So here's another way that I might want to look at this. Okay, let's say int gas equals 20. So when I start a new car, it's going to have 20 gallons of gas. I can create another function here that says drive car int miles. Okay, so now I am passing that. It looks like two parameters, but remember, this one just says it's a self-referential. So it is saying that this belongs to the class CL car. When I call this function, I'm just going to give it this parameter, the number of miles. So if I want to drive the car int miles, let's say it gets 20 miles to the gallon. So I'm going to say int, or let's say FL gas used is in miles divided by 20. And then we're going to say self dot int gas minus equals FL gas used, and then print F you have self int gas remaining. Okay, so here is a little bit more advanced method of this class. So if I want to drive the car, I'm going to tell it how many miles I'm going to drive it. It's going to take that, it's going to divide it by 20 because I get 20 miles to the gallon. And then it's going to subtract it from the gas. Okay, so notice every time I'm referring to this, every time I'm referring to a property of that object, I'm starting with self. You're always going to tell it that it's self, it's its own property. So refer to your own property of int gas minus that, and then again self.int gas remaining. So now let's my car one dot drive car. Let's just go 20 miles. And my car 2 equals CL car. So now I can have as many cars in my garage as I want. And I could start doing things like giving them different make, different year, that sort of thing. But let's run this. Okay. So there is the result of that drive method being called. So that's a do something method. I could have it return something, and then I could say I could use that data for something. In this case, it's what I'm doing is I'm using this method to modify a property internal to that car. I could have another method called fill up gas tank that reset that gas to 20 if I want to, or whatever. So and the nice thing about this is that using this blueprint, I could create 1,000 different cars, and each one would keep track of its own data in its own self. So maybe you're starting to feel how this is useful, because it is pretty powerful stuff. Okay, so using a method inside a class